And we're at the Digital Media Forum pop-up studio, and we're having guest 4 with us today.
Hi, my name is Nisrine. I'm the Vice President of Digital for Rotana Media Services.
Nisrine, it's great to have you at the pop-up studio exploring where the digital world and the content world is moving towards, considering the amount of technology that disrupts it, considering the amount of channels and platforms are disrupting it. So what was the topic of your keynote speech today?
So the topic of my keynote was moving from broadcast to borderless. And actually my focus stems really from a purpose of mine. I grew up loving TV. I was in love. I was obsessed with TV. I have 5 siblings, and we all used to compete for attention. And I think I sort of found myself in TV because when I was young, the first thing that I ever memorized was actually a jingle, a TV jingle. And I would sing that and I would perform that. And then they would clap for me. I was, something like 3-4 years old. So I loved that attention. And then I stayed more watching TV, and I learned almost every single TV advert. So before nursery rhymes, I had memorized the majority of the TV ads. And I would perform them for family gatherings. And of course, they found it cute. I loved the attention. And that's how my love for TV grew. And sort of recently, I was on a panel, and one of the panelists, he was a client of ours, actually said TV is dead. And the moment he said that, it sort of hit really hard, because for me, TV is about, those cultural moments that we grew up. We grew up together watching a lot of shows with a family. It sort of shaped who I am. TV covered events that were relevant to us. We talked about those events outside of TV. So when he said that, for me it was like, oh, no, TV's not dead. TV isn't. Please don't say that. Because, that's sort of like an attack on my culture and the history and our heritage and who we are. And I think TV plays a part of being a custodian of that. Whether it's a broadcast TV or digital TV, TV as a medium is still central to a living room. It's still there on the wall, and it still is integral to a society.
So, in the era where YouTube, let's say, platforms like YouTube are gaining a lot of power, what keeps TV alive, if we continue that metaphor?
All right, I'm going to tell you something. I think, on YouTube, you cannot build a community. You can't find, you can definitely see people who are uploading things. They're not necessarily experts at what it is that they do. They haven't researched things. You find a million podcasts about topics that the people who are talking don't have necessarily the expertise. They haven't done the research. It hasn't gone through the rigorous metrics that TV goes through. So, in a time where people talk about what is AI, what is fake news, you avoid that with regular TV broadcasters who are made to go through all these really, really tough standards. Mm-hmm. And they take that responsibility really strongly. YouTube, it doesn't matter. You can see a cat video, and then after that you can see a podcast or a video about some conspiracy theory, and there's no depth behind it.
I think what you're referring here, I might be wrong, so it's the ethics, it's the whole ecosystem of TV and how the content is produced that keeps it a very unique medium, even when YouTube is getting the power, right? And what you've just mentioned is actually absolutely nailing the gap of YouTube. There's a lot of scroll stopping content, right?
Yeah, so we call TV sort of like a lean back experience. You go home, you turn it on, you lean back, and then you watch the content that triggers you, that triggers an emotion, or that allows you to dream, or that allows you to relax, and so on. I think with YouTube, even though it's on the screen, the fact that it is YouTube, it's very much a lean forward. It's very much a, all right, I don't like this, I'm going to skip. I don't like this, I'm going to skip. Because you're used to that behavior, even though it's on the big screen. And then even when we look at the broadcast content that people watch here, it's minimal in regards to the entire amount of time spent by audiences watching YouTube in the region.
So there are multiple reports that are showing that the creators economy is gaining a huge popularity. I mean, it has been estimated globally somewhat $250 billion as overall, and it's projected to grow until, let's say, 33 trillion or something like that dollars by
2030.
Yes, exactly. I mean, by let's say in 5 years' time.
Yeah.
So we have no other way but to embrace the creators economy. But the question is, what needs to happen to be able to direct the creators economy to grow into something more meaningful rather than a commodity? Because what's happening now is serving the algorithms. Lots of creators are creating content to be able to get the virality, to get the engagement in the first several seconds, which goes against any kind of depth of meaning, or in-depth research of, let's say, a narrative that probably TV used to give us, because there's the whole team of people who's working on a specific show or a content, right? It's much more complex than the YouTube. So what do you think needs to happen?
Look, I don't think one needs to be I think they can all live in the same ecosystem.
Yeah.
So of course you can have the creators economy, and we welcome that and we push that, and of course the creators are integral to the fabric of who we are and the culture, and they can create those moments. But for example, I look at specific cultural moments like Ramadan, and I look at the Zain ad. Every year, Zain Telecom releases an ad, and people wait specifically to see what new creative has come out. And that piece of content, they actually advertise on TV, I think, once a year, and it's during Ramadan. But that piece of content during that period of time captures the hearts and minds, and every single tweet and every single post outside of TV for the entire duration. It creates that conversation, that community, that connection, and I think that's what we should be looking at. Creators can definitely create, but the power of what these cultural moments that join us together, I think that is what brands should veer towards and should try to be part of that conversation. A lot of them have tried, to own moments during Ramadan, but there are other moments outside of Ramadan that they can own as well.
Of course. So when it comes to creativity, do you think AI is helping or AI is killing the actual human creativity? And where is the balance? How much content flow should be given to AI, let's say?
Well, we use AI to be able to make the customer experience a lot more interesting. So we use it to identify areas where we can contextually place advertising relevant to the audience and the context at the same time. So we use it to mark where the ad break is best placed in movies where they don't have a dedicated time for advertising. We also use it to integrate brands inside the actual content. So whether it's a football match or whether it's having a product on a table that's integrated post-production, that's how we're using AI a lot more than the creativity behind it. I know that there's a creative team that oversees the content production, and I'm sure they are looking at how they can best use AI, but it's not necessarily at this point to replace the team behind the creative and the production side of it. Even though I know at some point it is a big threat to that ecosystem.
But do you think it's more about not eliminating the teams or reducing the teams, but rather, looking at the skills that need to evolve to be able to build the new teams or to upgrade those teams? And how do the skills of those creative teams or teams who are working on placing the right advertising into the right content, how is that changing?
Well, I think it's about how CFOs are going to see the bottom line.
Right.
And I think a lot of it is going to be driven by whether a CFO is going to win or a creative director is going to win. And I think it could be a balance because at the end of the day, you have a bottom line, and efficiency is a major driver behind how CFOs tend to push the narrative inside any company. But of course, sometimes creative wins over this efficiency model.
No, I agree with you that monetization is an integral part of any attention space. You can't produce and rely on the fact that somebody will consume it at some point of time. So content is being produced to be consumed, right? Mm-hmm. And that is primarily the main reason why it is being invested to. So it's what do you think brands need to understand, or those, let's say, the investors need to understand about the attention space and monetization of attention space to be able to, let's say, to grow to another level in this whole content production industry? Is it the topic? Is it the trend? Is it the human factor? Is it the creativity? Is this the right ad at the right place? Or is it something that we're still lacking as an ecosystem to be able to move forward?
I think it needs to be part. I think it's a bit of every one of those things, but I think primarily it's about the authenticity and it's about the cultural relevance for something to tug at your heartstrings, because we are a people driven by emotions. Mm-hmm. We're not. It's not necessarily how optimized things are. It's very much about how real it is and how much it touches one's heart than it is about the bottom line. So that's that's how I see it.
I got it. Yeah, I get it. So, and to wrap up this small interview, so what do you want the digital media audience, the agencies, stay with after listening to this episode?
Well, I think there are a number of different things that I want to talk to agencies about. One of the things that I mentioned on the panel was don't undervalue the local publishers. Don't be dismissive of them and just declare them dead. Just for whatever rationale that you have. And I also think as well, publishers have an obligation to make sure that they actually create content that's relevant, that's culturally appropriate, that touches on the stories, and that reflects the audiences that watch them. And I also think that brands need to look at going beyond just performance and optimization and scale, and look at how they are contributing into the local economy, and how their decisions are actually affecting the entire ecosystem if they continue to go on these immediate wins, if you want, rather than look at the long-term brand value.
That's right. Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's been very insightful. Lovely having you in the podcast studio, and thank you so much.
Thank you.